The doorbell rang at 6:47 in the morning. I was in my robe, coffee in hand, standing barefoot in the kitchen because I had been up since 5:30 going over a beam load for a job that started Monday. The porch boards on the south side of the house had been making a sound I did not like, and I had been thinking, while the coffee brewed, that I would replace them myself over the weekend. I opened the door expecting the neighbor. A sheriff's deputy was on my porch. Behind him, a man in a county jacket with a clipboard against his hip. The deputy's hand was not on his weapon, but it was nowhere near relaxed either. "Ma'am," he said, "are you Kate Bennett?" "Yes. We have a demolition notice for this property, pursuant to a complaint filed yesterday afternoon." The county inspector handed me a folder. The top sheet was a yellow carbon. Notice of determination, unsafe structure. The address was mine. The deputy was watching my face. "Your signature is on the original permits, ma'am, and they appear to be fraudulent." I am Kate. I am 39. I am a licensed structural engineer. I have a PE stamp with a number on it that is signed off on hospitals, schools, and 2 state-owned bridges. My signature is the most expensive thing I own. My brother filed this complaint. I knew it before the deputy said the next sentence. He had not come to tear down my paperwork. He had come to make the county tear down my house, make the state question the license I had spent 15 years earning, and buy the lot at the auction afterward. He had come to demolish me first, so the rest would be easy. I did not invite them in. I stepped back into the doorway and opened the folder all the way. The complaint was 4 pages stapled at the corner. The complainant's name was on page 1. Bennett, Robert. My brother. Filed at 4:18 p.m. the previous day. "Ma'am," the deputy said, "the complainant alleges that the permits for the rear addition were filed under your name and your professional engineer's license, and that the work was never properly engineered. The inspector here is required to do a walkthrough. If the structure presents an immediate hazard, the notice becomes a removal order." "Who pulled the permits?" I said. The inspector flipped a page. "The original packet is signed Kate Bennett, P.E. Did you compare that signature to anything?" He looked up. "Ma'am, the complainant submitted what he says is a sample of your real signature. He says the one on the permit is not yours. 4 years ago, Robert had offered, more than once, to pull the permits for my rear addition as a favor. He was at the county records office twice a week for his real estate work anyway. I had told him no twice. The third time, distracted on a contractor call, I had said, 'Fine, but use my actual stamp. Don't just write my name.' He had said, 'Got it, stamp only.' He had signed my name instead, in a hand close enough to mine that the county clerk had not caught it. And he had filed a confirmation email to himself that night that read, 'Got it pulled, sis, you owe me a beer.' He had been holding that forgery for 4 years. And the day before yesterday, when he found out a developer had offered me $1.2 million for the lot, he had finally used it." The inspector, quieter, said, "The complainant also said, and I'm quoting from his statement, 'She doesn't even understand what she's standing on.'" That phrase went into the porch boards under my feet, into the foundation under the porch boards, into every load calculation I had ever run. I had been standing on it my whole career. "I need 10 minutes, I said. "Don't start the walkthrough yet." I sat down on the top porch step in my robe and called my firm's records desk. Helen had been the senior records clerk at our firm for 22 years. She answered her direct line at 10 of 7 in the morning because Helen always answered her direct line. "Kate, you're up early." "Helen, I need you to pull the permit packet for my own house. Rear addition. Filed 4 years ago, June. I need it in front of you in the next 5 minutes." "What's wrong?" "My brother forged my signature on it. He filed a fraud complaint against me yesterday. There is a sheriff on my porch." I heard her chair move. I heard her set the phone down on her desk, the way she does when she's about to do something quickly. I heard her log into the firm's archive. "I have it open," she said. "Kate, your stamp isn't on this. Your signature is, but your stamp isn't. And there's a confirmation email from Robert in the file. It's filed under your name in our system. He sent it from his account." "Read me the email." "Got it pulled, sis. You owe me a beer. Don't forget the inspections in 2 weeks." I closed my eyes. "Helen, I need you to lock the original packet in the archive. Don't print it, don't email it, don't move it. When I come in this morning, the chain of custody has to be clean." "Understood. What else?" "Stand by the phone. I'm going to make one more call." I hung up. I sat for a moment on the step. My coffee was cold. The deputy was standing in my yard now, his hands in his belt, looking pointedly away from me. The inspector was looking at the foundation line of the addition like a man who already knew it was fine. I called the state Professional Engineers Board next. This is the call I want you to be in the room for. If you're listening tonight while you fold something or drive somewhere, stay with me through this one, because there is a thing that happens to a woman when she stops being afraid and becomes a witness, and I want you to hear it. I sat through 3 minutes of hold music. I rehearsed nothing. When the investigator answered, I told her my license number and the date of the forgery and the name of the person who filed it and the name of the person who had just filed a fraud complaint against me using that forgery. She was very quiet for a few seconds. "Ma'am?" she said. "Are you reporting a forgery on your own license?" "Yes." "Do you understand that this triggers a state-level investigation against the filer?" "Yes." "Will you be at a number we can reach you at this morning?" I gave her my firm's main line. "We'll have an investigator at your office by 10. I went back to the deputy. "I'm going to my firm," I said. "Don't let anyone touch the addition until I have the original packet in your hands. Will you hold the demolition pending review?" He looked at the inspector. The inspector nodded. "We can hold it," the deputy said, "until end of business today." I went inside, put shoes on, kept the robe. I drove to my firm in a robe. I want you to picture that on the highway, because it is the thing I remember most clearly about that morning, and it will matter at the end. I parked in my own reserved spot at 9:10. Helen met me at the records desk with the original packet in a clear archive sleeve. She had also pulled 4 years of email threads, every contractor confirmation, every county clerk timestamp, every PE stamp I had used on every permit I had personally signed for the past 6 years. "Kate," she said, "sit down." She had laid 2 sheets side by side on the conference room table. My real signature from the hospital expansion job dated the same month as the addition permits, and the signature on my own rear addition permit, the one Robert had filed. They were close. They were not the same. The K had the same opening loop, but the T in Kate had a different cross. The descender on my B was different. The PE notation after the name was in a handwriting that was almost mine and was not. The signature was the handwriting of someone who had practiced. "You sat down and practiced this," Helen said quietly. "I know." She slid one more sheet across to me. It was a printout of the confirmation email. "Got it pulled, sis. You owe me a beer." She had highlighted the sender's email address. It was Robert's old real estate office account, the one he had used until 2 years ago. The account still existed. It was still in the county system as the filer of record. I sat there at my own conference room table and felt the thing I had been carrying since 6:47 start to harden. My phone rang. Voicemail came through with it, a missed call from earlier that week I had not listened to yet. From Robert's wife, Diana Ann. I had not picked up because she only ever called when Robert wanted her to. I played it on speaker. "Hey Katie, listen. We tried to buy it from her honest first. We did. So when this all sorts out, just remember that, okay? We tried to do it the right way. The her was me. She had said her instead of you because she had been practicing the version where I was not in the room." Helen exhaled through her nose. "She left that on your phone." "She did." "Kate, that voicemail is consciousness of guilt. Save it. Email yourself a copy. Don't delete the original." I emailed myself a copy. I emailed Helen a copy. I emailed my own attorney a copy at the address she had given me 2 years ago for emergencies. The voicemail was now in 4 places. The deputy from my porch had given me his card. I texted him a 1-line message. "Original packet is at my firm. The complainant is my brother. I have a recorded admission from his wife, PE board investigator arriving by 10. He replied within 90 seconds. "I'll be there." I looked up. Helen was watching me. "What are you going to do?" she said. "I'm going to invite him over." The PE board investigator arrived at 5 minutes to 10. Her name was Angela. She was in her early 50s, dressed for testimony, carrying a leather portfolio and a laminated badge clipped to her jacket. She did not waste a sentence. "Dr. Bennett, show me the packet." I walked her into the conference room. Helen had everything laid out on the long table. The original packet, the side-by-side signatures, the 4 years of email threads, the confirmation email from Robert, the recorded voicemail from Diana Ann, transcribed by Helen onto a printed page next to the audio file on a thumb drive. Angela worked through it for 28 minutes. She did not ask questions. She made notes in a small notebook. When she finished, she closed the portfolio and looked at me. "Ma'am," she said, "your license number was used to file a permit packet you did not stamp or sign." The filer made a confirmation statement in writing 4 years ago that he was the filer. He then filed a fraud complaint yesterday alleging that you are the forger. That is a state-level violation by the filer, not by you. I am opening a PE board complaint file in your favor. The filer is subject to investigation, sanction, and criminal referral. She paused. "You said you have a sheriff's deputy waiting on the demolition. Is the filer reachable today?" "Yes. Can you bring him here?" That was the plan. The deputy arrived at 10:15 with the inspector behind him. The demolition notice was in his hand. He set it on the table. It stayed there. I picked up my phone. I texted Robert. "Developer wants a clean settlement before noon. He's offered to drop the price if I sign a release today. If you want a piece of this before it goes public, come to my firm at 10:30. Bring Diana, Anne, or don't. I don't have time to wait." I added, "Don't call, just come." He texted back in 11 seconds. "On our way." He had read the word developer and the word drop the price, and he had stopped reading. I want to pause here for a moment, because if you are still with me, you should know that the next 20 minutes are the reason I am telling you any of this. The demolition notice on the conference room table was the smallest object in the room and the heaviest. It had been on my porch at 6:47. It had ridden in my passenger seat. The deputy had carried it in for me. Angela had read it twice. It sat in the middle of the table like a thing waiting to be answered. "Stay with me. They will be here in 15 minutes. Helen preps the room the way she preps for a deposition. She put the original permit packet on the side of the table where the morning light fell on it. She set up her laptop at the head, opened the email archive, cued the side-by-side signature view on the screen. She placed the printed transcript of Diana Ann's voicemail face down beside the laptop, with the thumb drive on top of it. She left the demolition notice in the middle of the table. Angela sat down on the long side of the table with her back to the wall. Her PE board complaint file was open in front of her, physical folder, 2 ring-bound printouts, her own laminated copy of my license card. She had a pen uncapped in her hand. The deputy stayed standing near the door, where Robert would see him on the way in. The inspector took a chair in the corner with his clipboard on his knee. I sat at the far end of the table, still in the robe. Behind me, on the conference room wall, my PE license certificate hung in a black frame. It had been on that wall since I made senior associate. It had the state seal in the corner and my license number across the bottom in block letters. The same license number that Robert had been forging onto county filings for 4 years. He had never been inside this conference room. Helen looked at me. "You want coffee? I have coffee." She almost smiled. She didn't quite manage it. She sat down at her laptop and waited. At 10:28, the front desk called through to the conference room phone. "Kate, your brother and his wife just walked in. Send them back." I heard them in the hallway before I saw them. Robert was talking. He was using the voice he uses when he thinks he's about to negotiate from a position of strength, light, casual, a little impatient. "Katie, listen, before you say anything, I just want you to know we're trying to help you out of a tight spot here, okay? The county was going to come down on you anyway. We just got ahead of it." He stepped through the conference room door first. He stopped. He saw the deputy. He saw the inspector in the corner. He saw the demolition notice on the table. He saw Angela's portfolio open in front of her. He saw Helen at her laptop. He saw my license certificate on the wall behind my head. Diana. Anne came in behind him and walked into his back. "Katie," Robert said. His voice was a half step higher than it had been in the hall. "What is this? I did not stand up. Sit down, Robert." He did not sit down. He stayed near the door. "Katie, this is a misunderstanding. Let's just talk. Let's just sit down and talk. The two of us, in your office. This is my office." He looked at the deputy. The deputy did not look back. "Diana," Anne pulled at Robert's elbow. "Robert, honey, we can pull the filing. It's not too late. We can pull it right now from the parking lot. I have the portal open on my phone. Sit down, Diana Ann," I said. She sat. Robert stayed standing for 1 more second, then took the chair opposite mine, slowly, like the chair might be wired. "Katie," he said, with the laugh he uses when he is afraid. "Whatever this looks like, this isn't what this looks like. We can fix this. We can pull the complaint, We can— Helen, I said. Helen turned her laptop screen 180 degrees to face Robert. On the left half, my real signature on the hospital expansion permits dated June 4 years ago. On the right half, my signature on the rear edition permits dated the same month. Below them, the confirmation email from Robert's old account, time-stamped 7:14 p.m. the same day, sent to himself. Got it pulled, sis. You owe me a beer. Robert looked at the screen. His face did the thing it does. Our father had done it once when his contractor told him the bid was double the estimate. The hand goes up to the side of the face, the fingers stop just under the eye, and the eye behind the fingers loses its focus for half a second before it comes back. I had not seen the gesture in 12 years. You stamped me 4 years ago, Robert, I said. You used my name. You wrote your own little note about a beer. And a day before yesterday, when a developer offered me $1.2 million for the lot, you filed a fraud complaint against me using the forgery you committed. You sent a sheriff to my house at 6:47 in the morning. You sent him with a demolition notice for the house I live in. Katie, you told the inspector I didn't understand what I was standing on. He looked at the screen. He looked at me. Something in his face that had been afraid let go of being afraid and became something older. You were never going to sell that lot, right, Katie? He said. The voice was quieter than before and meaner. You don't even know what it's worth without me. You've been sitting on it for 15 years. I was going to clean it up. I was going to make it worth something. You should be thanking me. It was the closest thing to honesty he had said since he walked in. Diana Ann, looking at the screen, said, very quietly, mostly to her own hands, I told you not to use her name. Angela's pen stopped moving. She did not look up. She made one small mark on her notebook. Robert did not hear his wife, or he heard her and did not let himself hear her. He turned back to me. Katie, family doesn't do this. You can't do this to family. You're going to ruin me. You're going to ruin Diana Ann. You're going to ruin our— Robert, Angela said, her voice cut him off without rising. I'm a state professional engineers board investigator. I'm here in connection with a forgery on Dr. Bennett's PE license. The forged signature was filed under her license number at the county records office 4 years ago. The filer is identified in the county system as you. I have a recorded admission from your spouse, made in a voicemail to Dr. Bennett's phone 6 days ago, that you both attempted to acquire this property by means I am presently characterizing as predatory. I'm filing a state-level complaint against you this morning. The sheriff's deputy here has a separate criminal referral. She looked across the table at Diana Ann. Ma'am, the Realtor Licensing Board takes its own action when there is a public record of a licensed agent participating in a scheme to misuse a professional license for property acquisition. I have discretion on whether to refer your file. What you just said in this room is on the record. Diana. Ann's face went white. Robert, I told you, be quiet, Diana Ann, Robert said. Helen very softly said, She tried to do it the right way, Robert. That's what she said on Kate's phone. The deputy moved at that point. He did not move fast. He moved the way men move who have done this 200 times and would rather not make it 300. He stepped to Robert's side of the table and said the words in the order he is required to say them. Forgery. Filing of false instruments, causing a county officer to execute a lawful order based on fraudulent information. Robert was on his feet by the second sentence. The cuffs went on in the conference room. He did not look at me. He looked at the carpet between his shoes. Angela glanced at Diana Ann. She made one more mark in her notebook. Then she said to the deputy, I'd like her statement on record before she leaves. A second deputy was already in the hallway. He had been there the whole time. He stepped in. Diana Ann stood up without being asked. She put her hands behind her back without being asked. The cuffs were ratcheted gently. She started to cry without sound. She looked at me once on the way out. I did not look away. I'm sorry, Katie, she said. I know, I said. It was not absolution. She knew that. The deputy walked her to the hallway. When the conference room door closed, the demolition notice was still on the table. Angela picked it up, held it for a second, and put it down again gently, the way you put down a tool you are about to put back in its box. Dr. Bennett, she said, I'll be in touch by Wednesday. Your license is clean. The complaint against you is going to be voided by end of business today. The complaint against him is going to take longer. Thank you. She closed her portfolio. She left. Helen sat at her laptop a moment longer. She did not say anything. She closed the lid slowly. By the end of that week, Robert was charged with forgery, filing false instruments, and procuring a public officer to execute a fraudulent order. Diana Ann's realtor license was suspended the same afternoon Angela left my firm. The lot never went to auction. The rear addition, the one Robert had told the county inspector was unsafe, was certified by the PE board's own investigator as exemplary structural work. The inspector who had walked my foundation that morning signed off on the addition himself. He shook my hand on the way out. He said, very quietly, that he had known the moment he saw the joist spacing. I refiled the addition's permit 6 months later with my own stamp and my own signature. Clean paperwork. My name in my own hand. I framed the demolition notice. It hangs in my firm's conference room now, on the wall opposite my license certificate, with a small brass plate under it that says only the date. I use it as a teaching artifact in the continuing education classes I teach on professional license fraud. I tell the students that the people who try to forge your signature usually believe 2 things about you. 1, that you will not check. 2, that you will not call. I tell them to check and to call. The robe is in my closet. Some mornings still feel like that morning. Most don't. I want you to hear the last thing, because if you have stayed with me through a sheriff, a forgery, a brother, a wife in cuffs, and a robe in a conference room, you have earned it. My brother told a county building inspector that I did not understand what I was standing on. He was wrong about exactly what I was standing on, and exactly who built it, and exactly whose name was on the stamp. I understood what I was standing on the day I earned the license that hangs on the wall behind my chair. I understood it again the morning he sent a deputy to my door to make me forget. If a man in your family has been holding something over you for years, and you have been wondering whether the thing he is holding is real, go check. Make the call. Make 2 calls. Lock the file in the archive. Tell one person you trust where it is. Then put on whatever you are wearing and go to your own conference room. If this is the kind of story you needed to hear tonight, there is another one waiting for you on the channel. Subscribe and turn the bell on so the next one finds you before it finds anyone in your family. I will see you there.